Okay, hello. We are doing yet again another Charlie Kirk decode in a film. We've got another reference to Charlie Kirk. It's just getting a little bit ridiculous now, but I'm going to show you this one because I'm going to do something even more ridiculous, which I'm going to go and tie this back in again with yet again another Madonna thing for today's date. Okay, we're on the 27th of October. The reason why this date's so interesting with Madonna is it ties back into Back to the Future. It ties her film Who's That Girl with Back to the Future through the train and through the three different trains that there are, okay, between those two films. The 131 steam train and then the blue and yellow locomotives that appear in Who's That Girl and then again in Back to the Future 3. Okay, anyway, and the whole date of that time period when the DeLorean gets smashed up in Back to the Future 3 is the 27th of October. Okay, so this is what. Anyway, let's do the Charlie Kirk thing first before we whip on to the Madonna stuff, because there's some connections with this scene and Charlie Kirk, and we've seen quite a few little tie-ins with, you know, the whole Charlie Kirk thing and Madonna, right? The number one thing is Guy Ritchie and his birthday being on, you know, the same, you know, him being a 10th of September birthday. Okay. Anyway, what is interesting as well about this scene very quickly is Hugh Grant, who's playing this character here, his birthday is actually the 9th of September. So it's interesting that we've got this connection, you know, back to a date that, you know, we're just one day off with this guy as well. A note in the background here, this will be a bit of a stretch for people, but we've got this L and then looks like could be a number 10 here, and if you just flip that round for a 7, what you end up with is you can use that 7 as September 10th. That's a bit of a stretch for sure, but anyway, let me show you the good stuff, which is not so much of a stretch. The film right now, Cloud Atlas, is on YouTube for free. That's what we're looking at. Okay, Cloud Atlas, and we're about 30 minutes into the film. Okay, if you want to go watch this scene for yourself, because I assure you there is a lot more in this scene than what I'm showing you here. And again, you kind of have to have watched most of the film for some of the other references, but in this scene there's a reference back to the kind of the nut house, okay, and you can kind of get back to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which has the 9/11 references in it as well, and it has Christopher Lloyd in it as well. So there's all these little tie-back-ins with other films. But let's just crack on with this Charlie Kirk thing here. Okay, so I'm going to play a little bit at a time so I don't get a copyright thing going on. Anyway, she's just done something that she shouldn't have. She's basically a slave, basically a clone slave in the film. She is going to try to escape, and you'll notice that they have these neck collars on. Okay, and we're going to see something here. Hugh's going to press the button.
Elevator approaching.
And get ready for it now. Okay, there you go. There's the neck wound. So we have the neck wound, and so we already have a couple of little connections there. You know, a marginal connection with Hugh Grant with his birthday. The little bit on the wall there with the 710, that's a bit of a stretch. let's do what we want to do is go and look at these characters now in the film. Okay, so I'm on the film on Wikipedia. We've got the main cast here, and I'm going to show you. This is the character that doesn't die there that we get to see. Sonmi 451. Okay, so we're going to look at her, and we're also going to look at Hugh Grant, who is playing Sia Ree, and I don't know how to pronounce that, but she's playing Yuna. This is the character that gets killed, Yuna 939. So let's go look in the gematria now. Okay, and what we're going to see, let me put this on so we can just make some connections here. We're going to see we've got some connections with, firstly, Hugh's character, Sia Ree, and the name Charlie happen to match up right here. So I happen to have a double match. And there's kind of a partial, we've got an 83-38, you know, don't like really doing that, but we've definitely got a double match there, okay? Then the character that gets the neck injury, okay, look at this. We have the actual date in the numbers, the gematria numbers here for the neck injury, okay, 1009, right, the 10th of September. So that is absolutely bloody insane. Not only that, but we have this connection back with 1004 as well, with the clock tower. Back to the Future, thinking about Back to the Future again, and how Charlie Kirk ties in with the clock tower and Back to the Future. So this is absolutely insane. While we're here, let's just look at Hugh Grant. Notice that he's got the 104, and this is going to be important in a minute when we get onto Madonna. Okay, that will be very important. And I can't remember off the top of my head. Wow, there was a 40 showing up for something. I think it was, when we get onto Madonna, I think it's the 40th anniversary of Back to the Future 3, the date in it, not the release date, but the actual 10/27/1985, when Marty finally gets home, goes across the Golden Gate Bridge there, and then the DeLorean gets smashed up. Okay, we're 40 years on from that date today. Okay, and we're going to be looking at some Madonna stuff for today. Also note that the restaurant is called Papa Song. I think Charlie Kirk has some kind of connections with restaurants as well. And notice that they had the eggs there in the restaurant, the egg, the chicken, the Ciccone lays the egg, yeah, Madonna Ciccone. And note that Madonna and Papa Song both match as well on the tail end here. Okay, so this is super duper important stuff, I guess, right? Two more things while we're here, because we might not get back to this, but this character here, the Sonmi, okay, check it out. We've got Queen numbers, 9/11 references, you know, and again 9/11 references with Donald Trump with the read that backwards, 614. Okay, the 416 there. Okay, so let's move on before this gets too terribly boring. What we're going to do? Let us look at. Well, let's just whiz back here to the actual film itself. Let me just note the 172 numerology in the runtime. So that again with the Madonna date. Let's also note this tie back in with Back to the Future because of this date, the 26th of October. The 26th of October is like when a lot of the main jumps take place there in 1985. Okay. What else have we got going on? We've also got the Queen here. We couldn't resist having the Queen's death date in here as well. And I haven't run a bunch of number jumps for this, which I probably should have for the dates through, but it's just interesting with the numbers. Okay, notice that who does the film, produced, but look, we've got the Wachowskis in there, no doubt, of course. So it's definitely an interesting film. There's a lot of references back to slavery in this film, and that struggle with freedom and slavery. Okay, in fact, the whole film's pretty much about that. But what we'll say, this idea of slavery, and I'll tell you what, that film, they have the Asian aspect to it, and it's all connected through Korea, which we've got to remember. Die Another Day, the film with the Madonna song, with Madonna in it, and the music video, that's all connecting back to Korea. That film starts in Korea, and there's a reference to North and South Korea in that film. Okay, so that's kind of interesting that they chose to put a Korean reference in this film. And I want to say in Back to the Future that the memorial that, now don't quote me on this though, the memorial that's in 1955, I believe if you look on the board there, I believe that the actual sign that you see is referencing the Korean War, maybe. I think maybe that's what's on the actual board. You know what I'm talking about, in front of the clock tower, as Marty walks up to the clock tower in 1955. When he first gets back to 1955, he kind of, we've gone through that scene with Charlie, with the references to Charlie Kirk and the car and everything. He kind of walks backwards down, and it's set up like a baseball pitch again, or the flux capacitor. He walks down one side of the V and then back the other side of the V, and there is a war memorial, you know, right at that midpoint there as he gets in front of the clock tower, and I believe you see a reference to the Korean War there. Anyway, so where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Because I could talk about half the characters in here and things that they've been in and whatnot, but we're going to go from Charlie Kirk now. The place was called Papa Song, so immediately I thought, well, we'll go to Papa Don't Preach, the Madonna song with Papa in the title. Okay, already we can see some connections to Charlie Kirk, because Charlie Kirk on the White Wedding Day had this palindromic 11611 number for his how old he was. Okay, it was 11,611 days old on the 29th of July this year. Okay, that is super important with, you know, balance numbers. Okay, what else did we have? This was the, no, that's something we're going to come on to in a minute. So the Papa Don't Preach thing actually was, what was this? Let's see, I should have that in here. Oh, well, we can talk about this in a minute. I'm not in any kind of logical order here. I wasn't even going to bother doing this. I was going to wait and see if something happened today before I did a video on it. I'm kind of getting fed up of doing semi-prediction videos. Obviously nothing happened on the 22nd of October that I was just looking at, and kind of waited a few days just to see if anything else or any interesting stories came about, but nothing. Okay, anyway, from the release of that song through is nothing spectacular apart from the 39 years 139 days right here. Now if we unclick this and have a quick look, That number is nothing spectacular either, but this was kind of interesting because of just the numerology of the gal that got shot. Okay, it was this connection, the 939. Okay, that was the only thing that looked marginally interesting there. The fact that that is also kind of palindromic. Well, it's not really kind of. It's not really palindromic at all, actually. Looking at it, 39 years, 139139. So I had these 39 reference, right? Now, the other thing that's kind of interesting with the whole jewelry heist thing that's been going on, I should have actually got the video up, but this song, in the music video for this song, Madonna's bedroom has a Pink Panther in it. So with the jewelry heist of the French crown jewels, which were predominantly, I believe, they were female crown jewels rather than, for the king. They were rather for, empresses or queen. Okay, so that was kind of interesting with that whole connection to this song here. I was looking at it before and I was like, I wonder if there is a connection to that with the jewelry heist. So I have the Pink Panther reference in the music video, and of course the Pink Panther, you go back to those films, the Pink Panther films, where it's about a jewelry heist, stealing a diamond, right? So anyway, moving on, let's just randomly go through these number jumps. I'm sorry, this is really disjointed, and we're actually, before we do the number jumps, I should talk about the trains. So this is Charlie Kirk's birthday through to 10/22. Yesterday's date was 117. Okay, and then we click on a day, and so not such a pretty number there, but very kind of interesting with just the numbers 17 to do with Diana, yeah, Diamond Diana, and her birthday, the 1st of July. Okay, and we've talked about it so much, it just gets a bit ridiculous after a while. But anyway, I've kind of really lost what I was thinking about here. But let's pause back together a little bit, and let's talk about Back to the Future very quickly, and the actual date first. Let's get this 10/27 date on here. I'm sure this is stuff, I'm regurgitating stuff from old videos, but right here we've got the steam train. So number one, we've got the 131 steam train. Now remember, from Madonna's birthday to Christmas is 131 days, right? So that is extremely interesting. Not only that, but Christopher Lloyd is, right now, he just turned 87 on the 22nd, so he is in his 88th year of life right now, but he will turn 88 the same day as this train crash that I always go on about, the Montparnasse train crash, will also be 131 years old next October the 22nd. Okay, so this is, again, this kind of connection with, leaving Doc behind. Yeah, Doc dying in this scene. He doesn't really die, but Marty leaves him behind. Okay, and this train crashes, and then we see Doc come back in a steam train again. Okay, so this is kind of connection back with Christopher Lloyd in this train, and of course with Madonna and the train with the 131, all referencing back to like the metaphysical. Okay, anyway, he just inputted the time there, which is October the 27th, and we'll probably see a little No. No. End of the track is our October the 27th. I keep wanting to say the 22nd. They do sound right. And so Marty is going to make it back across. So obviously October the 22nd next year will obviously be an interesting date as well. But anyway, there's our 131 train going over the edge. Just as I was going back to this with this. Okay, so what I want to just note is look at the locomotive number right here. Okay, 127. Note that that thing is happening on, essentially is getting jettisoned back to 1027. That's the reference in that portion of the film there. Okay, so, and don't forget, Madonna has the 127 just showed you in her numerology right here. So again with the train, and don't forget that train is also 6226 as well, same as Madonna. I don't have it in here, but we could, I guess we could just pop it in real quick. Let's get rid of this, just so you can see train. Okay, and again you can see it's a triple match for Madonna. Go one on down, 37, 37, 26, 26, 62, 62. So almost in the right order as well. Okay, so that's super important because, of course, later on in that scene, we're going to see Marty roll across the Golden Gate Bridge, and I've got it paused at this spot right here because we want to look at this number plate because of this number right here, which is 619 on this number plate. Now 619, we were just in Cloud Atlas talking about slavery. This is the, in fact I've got it in here, don't I? Maybe I don't. No, I don't. But Juneteenth right here is Emancipation Day, Black Independence Day. It's all about, you know, the abolishment of slavery, end of slavery here. Okay, so and we're going to do a number jump with when they made it a federal holiday. Holiday, remember, Madonna holiday. So the 19th of June, we'll look at that number jump through to her to today's date. Okay, so that is kind of interesting. Definitely tying that date in with you know, this whole date here, which is the 27th of October, if I just say it right. So he's come back across the Golden Gate Bridge, Eastwood Ravine, goes past this number plate here. Okay, and he is going to have to get out of the DeLorean pretty quick because this is coming, and the DeLorean's getting pulverized. Meanwhile, if we flip over to Who's That Girl, okay, Madonna's driving here. That's probably a stunt double at this point, but there we go. There is our little connection there with Back to the Future and Who's That Girl. Don't forget, Marty is going to have a run-in with a Rolls Royce later on in the end of the film there, in Back to the Future 3. Okay, so it's kind of interesting that these two films tie together with that scene. Now, okay, actually I've got the number jump in here for, this was the 40 years I was saying. It's 40 years from the release, not the release, that date in Back to the Future through to today's date. Okay, so we've got 40 years. We've also got Donald Trump referenced in here with the 146. Okay, so that is marginally interesting, and of course you could click the end, you could include end date, and you have the 611 in there as well, which makes it marginally even more interesting. 4 years 1 day. We've got the 14 numerology again for the clock tower. Okay, let's see what else we've got in here. 619. If we go from Juneteenth this year through to this day, it is 131 days. So that is well interesting to do with the first train going off the cliff there, okay? And of course Madonna's birthday through to Christmas is 131. So that is blooming interesting. Let's look at her birthday through to today's date. 24545. Now, when you find these things, it's just absolutely insane. Okay, now let me just write this out so that we can kind of understand this. So if I was to write the 24th, okay, of May 1945, we would get a birthday. So this number jump right here from Madonna's birth through to today's date gives us a birthday. Now that birthday is, where the hell's she at? I had her in here somewhere as well. No, we're going to get onto her in just a minute. Lisa Marie Presley. I apologise because I don't. No, this is not who I want. Back that up. This will probably go to the mother. The mother. Priscilla Presley. Okay. Priscilla Presley's birthday is that number jump that we just saw. Okay. So that is absolutely crazy because, of course, most of you know, and this is something that old JL used to go on about a whole bunch, is that Madonna's 19th birthday is the day back in 1977 when Elvis died. So Elvis died on Madonna's 19th birthday. So there's this connection in. Now while I'm thinking about it, if we look at the current dictator, or whatever you want to call him, who's in charge of North Korea, the puppet they've got over there, Kim Jong-un, his birthday is also the 8th of January, the same as Elvis's birthday. Okay, so yeah, this little connections back now with Korea again, Kim Jong-un, Elvis. Okay, this connection back with Madonna, Priscilla Presley now, today's date, Elvis. Elvis just happens, I've got it in here somewhere. This is marginally interesting as well, to do with, so you've got to have been following along with a few of my where the hell is that? Hang on, I might not have him in here. I thought I had Elvis's. Here it is. From Elvis's birthday through to today's day is 33166. Now 316 is a number we get off that $1 bill that I showed you with the snake eyes that flips around, and we did the number jumps. I can't remember the decode exactly, but we had some tie-ins with that dollar bill. It's an old silver certificate, and it has the 913 on it, and essentially the 316 is part of that. But you can flip these letters and it makes pi. Okay, so there's your 6 there that's flipped around, mirrored, your 1 and your 3. Okay, and we're getting back to pi again. Super interesting with Madonna, all the connections back to pi with her. And so this is a marginally interesting day to tie back in with Madonna. Okay, what else do we have up here? So of course, if we want to look at again, Lisa Marie Presley is the daughter of Elvis and Priscilla, and what's interesting about it is the numerology that we've got with her seems to be 2-1 numerology, and she's also born the same year as Guy Ritchie. And I immediately thought, well, you know what, I'm going to check that against Guy Ritchie and just see how many days apart those two are. So I've got her birthday through to Guy Ritchie's birthday. I hope I've got that right. It's 222. Unbelievable. Now, you remember she did funeral rites earlier on in the year. I believe that was 2 minutes 22 long, and there was something funky about it, if you recall, because it just stayed. The 1 second number drop that YouTube usually does for the thumbnail to the video, that didn't occur, so it was 222 the whole time. So again, I could have took that as a reference back to a sort of hidden number of 221, but nothing happened on the 22nd of October. So Madonna is officially late. If that was right. I've got her death date in here now. This is Lisa Marie's death date. Okay, sticking with the 1-2 numerology, 2023 through to, this is Madonna's stint in ICU. I'm going to explain why this is important in just a second. 163 days. This was like the backbone number of that last decode on 1022, to do with the Manning brothers. Okay, so this is again kind of interesting that that's just popped back up again. Now what is interesting about this is, if you go to the film Elvis, I know this is all over the place, and people, I don't know if some people like all over the place like this, or just picking out connections like this. But when we go back to the actual film that they just did, okay, 2022, okay, the film release date for the States, June the 24th. So a year later to this release date, she's in ICU. So this is again kind of interesting. If you recall, this dude, he's got the 817, got the 9-1 reference. The 817 is Sean Penn's birthday, Madonna's first husband. And you start going through it, and then you see, oh look, Tom Hanks is in it, Cloud Atlas, okay, oh dear, okay, and then look at this, the release date here for Cannes, May the 25th. This is the release date for Back to the Future 3, May the 25th, 1990, I think. I've got it in here somewhere. And then this is the original release date for Madonna's song, Who's That Girl, the 23rd of June. I think it was the song and not the, I can't remember if it's the song or the film. I think it was the song. Yeah, it was the song, because the film was 8787. The 7th of August 87 for the film, which is kind of interesting with Doc right now. Christopher Lloyd is 87 years old on that date, so that's kind of interesting as well. But that was the original, the 23rd of June was the original release date for the actual song. Now they've moved it to June the 29th, 87, which coincidentally, if we look at the original release date, it gives us this 146 again with and also with Donald Trump. That also ties back in, that numbers ties back into the shooter Tyler. And if we go to the 29th, you're going to see, oh look, bang on 14,000. Okay, so the 1-4 clock tower numerology again. So when you tie back into this lass in where was it, the one that with the neck wound. Now the 104 is looking kind of interesting, seeing as the bloody annoying, this thing, with the actual restaurant's name. Okay, so the connection, the connection's back with Madonna, the egg and all the rest of that stuff in there. Fairly interesting. What else we got going on here? And you know what, Lisa Marie also, she was with Michael Jackson for a while. I believe Madonna was even with Michael Jackson for a little while. Anyway, this is her. This is what I was on. Her death date through to today's date. We got the, look at this. We got 101 showing up in there, as well as the 19, 10, 19. Oh, blimey now. 911 in there. Super duper interesting little bits and pieces of number jumps. What else have I got here? This is the one actress who's playing the Asian girl that didn't get shot there in that scene. This is the Somi character, 16818. That's fairly interesting, especially with all the 818s that we've had for Tyler references. That's very interesting with Madonna's birthday right at the start of that, and the 46 years, 16 here, again with the Donald Trump numerology there. You could probably click that on. That's also interesting with her birthday and her 19th birthday with Elvis again. So tying back in, back through to that. What else we got? Come on, Dan, let's crack on. We did that already. What's this one? We've done that. That's Juneteenth. We've done this. Priscilla Presley's birthday in here. What's this? This is the release of the Elvis film through to 10/27. Oh, look at this again with the 1221. We're looking at the 10/22 with Madonna. Now we've got the Lisa Marie 2-1 numerology connections going on. Fairly interesting as well. That we've done. Not very interesting. This was our 39 reference with that character here. This 139 with Hugh Grant. Okay, in that scene. So that's a bit of a stretch for sure. But right here. What else do we got? This was the actress that died. That's her birthday through. It's 51 years, 9 days. There's our 91005 numbers that we've been seeing. This number pops up all the time. If you want to see this number, go watch We Seek We Find. Check that channel out. He has got hundreds of videos connecting back to this set of numerology. One other thing, just because we were doing the Eli Manning and Peyton Manning thing, I don't know if I mentioned this, I probably did, but again, their father Archie, May 19th. Okay, and also note that Elvis and Priscilla got married. I did have it highlighted in mine. They got married. I'm pretty sure it was the first, somewhere in here. La 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 la. Where is it? The couple got married on May the 1st, 1967. So that is super duper interesting because May the 1st ties back in with the 1st of September, 9-1 numerology. Again, 67 is the 19th prime. So there's all these, it's just, and then Madonna's getting, he's dying on Madonna's 19th birthday. What else we got here? I can't remember what this one was. I don't even know why I've got it in here. 8/17/60. No, and I can't remember. That was That was maybe the actor that was playing that Austin Butler chap. I wasn't really that interesting. I've got another. Where was it? This is the release of Back to the Future 3 through to that date. 1294. Or you could do that, which is kind of interesting with the 9-3 numerology on the end of there. I mean, we're getting kind of. What was this one? This is the White Wedding through to Madonna's birth. 318 numerology. 3-1. I don't know if that was anything interesting on the end of there. Can't remember. Oh yes, that is interesting. 3181 days. The 450th prime. I believe it's 45 days from Charlie Kirk's death through to today's date. Maybe it isn't 45 days. I can't remember off the top of my head. It might be more than that now. That might have been to the 25th. I can't remember. Anyway, you could probably do the number jump. We could probably put it in here and check it. There was one other number jump that I wanted to show you that was interesting. Now I can't find it. Because it might have been this one with this with the 519 days, but what was it really interesting about this? I think, yes, 213 numerology in the prime number, 2130, but 213 is super duper important with Lucas numbers, which is what all this stuff ties, a lot of this stuff ties back into. So, and that was the actress that died. And notice the 118 numerology as well with the blooming birthday here. Remember, this is like Jean-Claude Van Damme's birthday. I don't know what year Jean-Claude was born in, but not 74. But this is his birthday, the 18th of October. So that's again, it's all interesting stuff. They even have a little dam break in the film. Spoiler alert, of course they're going to have a little dam break in there. I think I've covered everything. I don't really want to whiffle waffle too much longer. If something does happen, I have a decode for the dollar bill for 1027, and I'll just roughly outline where that is right for you now. Is right here. Okay, if you can figure that out, it's pretty simple. There's a 1 here, there's a 0 here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 leaves here. Okay, so you have 1, you have 10, the way that's split up, there's a 2 there and a 5. Okay, and so you got 20, 25. I mean, what I'm saying is you can make all the numbers you need there for 1027. Okay, and that was part of the. I think I showed it. That is part of the sort of when you join these two sides together. Okay, you get 2 sets of bunny ears, which made our 22, and we had a 10 drawn in there, and so forth and so on. And look, here's Eli's birthday numbers here, the 3rd of January, and don't forget we had the Peyton Manning. When you join all this together, we had the Peyton Manning. This is the Broncos reference here with the horse mane. This is the Colts reference here with the horseshoe. And so this is the number 25 because this is Washington's portrait side on. And this is the number 1. So we've got 1, we've got 1025, again 1025, and then the next number on that you can make is 1027 out of that. Okay, and it's kind of convoluted, but you know. And then of course you can come over this side and you can pick out numbers for Peyton Manning's birthday here as well. So you can pick out the 2 leaves at the bottom, and then you've got 4 leaves, 4 berries above that, and then you've got 3 leaves there, and so you can get your 24th of March with his birthday there as well. So, and you can get the number, you can also get the 3-1 in here with Eli's birthday through just joining up these 2 things, and you can also get the 8-1 as well, the 18 and the 8-11 in this as well. So you get the number 18 for Peyton's number as well. The number 10 in here for Eli's number. I think he was number 10. So I mean, it's just, I really thought something was going to happen on the 22nd, but you know, of course, and I waited on the 25th because of this, and so the 27th is about the last sort of number. You can probably get the 28th out of this as well. Okay, so you can get quite a lot of numbers out of here by fudging stuff around. I know some people think it's, you know, it is what it is, you know. You know, you can either like it or not like it, you know. I know a lot of it's fudging, so that's it for the decode. Okay, we've gone again from blooming Charlie Kirk again, connecting back in with Madonna. So, and I guess, you know, it's just interesting stuff, you know, just interesting. I mean, I guess we could just out of interest, because I don't have it in here, but 14, let's go 93. Oh yeah, we already did this, yeah. Let's go 10. Let's do his death date through. And I haven't even done any number jumps for like the channel tunnel. Oh, it's 47 days. Okay. The hat's on the table, 47. So the 25th was 45-day jump there. So again, like I said, all these, there's a lot of dates right now that all look really, and again into the 28th is a really interesting day with Matthew Perry as well, and also what's her face, Julia Roberts. So anyway, that's kind of interesting with all the stuff for Donald Trump. Those few numbers popping up there with Donald Trump, and you know, 47 popping up here. So, or you could go 48, and we had some references in the last video to 48 again. So it's just regurgitation and just see that. But maybe the takeaway from this is you can make a lot of dates work for, you know, potential, you know, death dates for people, or you know, event dates. So it does make you wonder whether, I mean, not every date does this. Not every date works for a strong date, but there are, you know, it makes predicting something extremely difficult, because there are definitely dates running throughout the year that have stronger ties back on each other. Okay, so I don't know really what else to say about it. I'm gonna leave it there. Hope you enjoyed that. Hopefully that isn't too long. And yeah, just another Charlie Kirk thing and more stuff on Madonna. Alright, thanks for watching. Cheers. Good night. Bye.